Recording and editing audio for free is easy using a piece of software called Audacity. This is my complete Audacity beginner guide. Let's get started by downloading the Audacity app, and you just need to go to the link in the description of this video, and then on the website click the big Download Audacity button. It's available for Windows, Mac, and even Linux systems. Once you've done that, you can head out of the web and head over to Audacity. This is how it looks when you load it up. And the first thing you want to take a look at is the audio setup. Here, you can choose your playback device, so select your audio interface. Recording device, select your microphone, internal mic, USB mic, whatever's connected, whatever you're recording with, make sure it's selected here. And for an advanced tip, go to the recording channels and select the channel on your audio interface. If it's a microphone, it might just be one mono recording channel. If it's an instrument, it might be two stereo recording channels. Once that is done, you can hit the record button and test levels. Hello, this is Mike Russell with a beginner Audacity tutorial. You can see the levels are appearing as I speak next to the microphone icon, and that is a reasonable volume level. However, if it were not, I could just drag this slider down and make my microphone quieter. Okay, likewise, as I play back, I've got the playback icon here and a slider here. Let's play this back and slide down as we do. So I can either click on the time bar to start play, or just hit the play button like so. Hello, this is Mike Russell with a beginner Audacity tutorial. You can see the levels are appearing as I speak next to them, and then I hit stop to stop. Now, as you heard, as I was fading that down, it was making my playback device quieter if, for instance, the audio was too loud. Other things to mention, project sample rate, usually 44,100 Hertz is a good starting point. If you're working with video, you might want to go in here and change it to 48,000. Any lower is just poor quality, and any higher, you might be working in the Pro Audio setup. So that's how you get started with sample rates. 32-bit float is default as well, so nice protection for the levels of your audio. Not something you need to worry about, just know that by default Audacity records in a really good quality. Okay, so we've recorded, we can obviously play back, we can zoom in. If we use the plus icon here, we can zoom in, or the minus icon here, we can zoom out, and this will zoom in or out to any area that we choose. So if I put the cursor here at the end and hit the plus icon, it's going to zoom into the end of the track, and likewise zooming out again to full, like so. I can also select an area, and I can click this icon and zoom towards that area like so. Click plus, and there we go, we're zooming into the area. So lots that we can do there with zooming icons to get exactly the sound we want. Now I can also, because my voiceover is looking a bit lonely, I can import a music track. Just go to File and then Import Audio, and we look for a music track. I'm going to put Mass Move in there. Put my cursor back to the start, or just click up here to start the playback. Hello, this is Mike Russell with a beginner Audacity tutorial. Okay, music a bit loud, so go to this tool, the envelope tool up here, and just add in a fade point. So I'm going to add one here, and then one here, and we're going to put another one that we can use to fade down. So there we go, one's up there, one's there, and then we can actually zoom in. That would give me much more control over how this fade looks, and I can then go ahead and move this fade over here and kind of make it as sharp or as soft as I want. There's my fade on the music. Let's play. Hello, this is Mike Russell with a beginner Audacity tutorial. You can see the levels are appearing as I speak next to the microphone icon. And that's fantastic. So this is already sounding a lot better. If I want to change the gain, let's go back to my regular selection tool. Let's select all of this. Let's go to Effect, Volume and Compression. Let's go to Normalize, and this will make this audio a little bit louder to a peak amplitude of -1 dB. There we go, much louder now. Hello, this is Mike Russell with a beginner Audacity tutorial. Okay, we can mute and solo tracks, so if I want to just hear the microphone on its own, just solo it and play it back. Now you hear only the speech. Hello, this is Mike Russell with a beginner Audacity tutorial. Or I can, on the alternative, I can mute any track, like the microphone track, and hear only the music track, which is also pretty cool. If I want to delete or split sections, I can do that. Let's listen to what I said. Hello, this is Mike Russell with a beginner Audacity tutorial. You can see the levels are appearing as I speak next to the microphone icon, and that is so if I want to cut out this little section of speech, I can select it right here, and I can either right click and say split clip, or hit Control or Command I on my keyboard, and I've cut that. Now I can just double click all of this and delete it. And then I can take the title of that and fade it over right over to here. So we get a seamless edit. Let's listen. Audacity tutorial, and that is a reasonable volume level. So there you go. You see the edit was absolutely seamless and sounds absolutely fantastic. I can undo by going to the edit menu, undo time shift, or Control or Command Z will get you back to exactly where you were at the start. Okay, so we've deleted, we've split, we've done all kinds of recording, we've mixed in music, we've changed the levels. How about making the voice sound a little bit better? And for this, I'm going to zoom right out like so. Maybe just to about that level so I can see all of the voice track. Double click the voice, and I'm going to go in and add a few of my favorite effects. So first of all, obviously the first thing I did was normalize it, did that earlier on. Now I can go into EQ and filters, and I'll go to the filter curve EQ, where I can flatten this EQ and make it how I want. Now if I roll off the low end like this, you'll hear it kicking in. Let's preview. Hello, this is Mike Russell with a beginner. Hear how a lot of the bass in my voice has gone. We don't want to take that much off, so I'm going to move it down to about 100 Hertz, and that'll roll off any low-end rumble that really isn't present in the voice anyway. Hello, this is Mike Russell with a beginner. So that's sounding pretty decent to me. If I want to give it a high-end boost, I can just take some of the high-end up, and I might choose to also boost a little bit of the 5K, the 4 to 5K range, and a little bit down here, and maybe even a slight boost at the low end bass as well to give some presence to my voice. Hello, this is Mike Russell with a beginner, and we've got a little more fullness. And then if I want to even out the voice so there's not so many peaks and troughs and everything's a consistent volume level, I'd go ahead and add in some compression. Effect, volume and compression, and we're looking for the compressor here. And here I'll set a basic compressor here with a threshold of -22. We'll leave the noise floor. Ratio we can leave at 3:1 here. Attack as quick as possible, and the release as quick as possible as well. Clicking apply then flattens out my audio and makes it sound great when mixed with the music. Hello, this is Mike Russell with a beginner Audacity tutorial. And bear in mind, I'm just going to quickly Command or Control Z to undo that. We started with a voice like this. Hello, this is Mike Russell with a beginner Audacity. So the voice just sounds more full, more present, and more there. And that's how you can quickly record, edit, splice, delete, mix in music, make your voice sound better. Hopefully this has given you a basis on how to work with Audacity. And the final thing I'm going to show you is how to export this as a mixed file. So at the moment we've got 2 audio files mixed together in Audacity. If I want to come back later and work with this project in Audacity, I'll want to save it as a project. Now note, this is not an audio file, this is a project. So you can't send this to someone and have them play it back unless they've got Audacity. You're simply saving your whole session. Everything you've done, all the effects you've applied will be restored. Save the project as, and it warns you, it's not an audio file, it's a project. That's okay. You give it a name like my project, and then you click save in order to save that project. Now, if I wanted to save it out as a mixed audio file, like all the tracks together, the voice, the music, anything else, then I go to File, and I choose to Export, and save it as either an MP3 file, a WAV file. Maybe for the highest quality, I'm going to go for WAV here. And again, you leave all these settings as default, and you call this mic.wav, and click save. That even rhymes, and you've got your audio all recorded and saved, and ready to share and distribute online, which is fantastic. If you're really enjoying Audacity, if you're digging Audacity, you should go back and watch some other tutorials like audio splicing or what is FFmpeg. You're going to need that if you get really advanced with Audacity. Go check those tutorials out and enjoy working with Audacity. And if you've got any questions at all, do let me know in the comments down below.